I never thought I would be the guy sitting alone in a small apartment, surrounded by boxes that don't even feel like they belong to me, writing out the story of how I lost everything. My marriage, my house, my savings, and, worst of all, my daughter. If someone had told me on my wedding day that a few years later I'd be stripped down to the bones of my existence, clinging to the faint memory of what once felt like happiness, I would have laughed in their face. But here I am, because the truth is stranger and crueler than anything I could have imagined. When I first met Emma, I thought I had stumbled into the kind of love people write songs about. She was radiant, magnetic in the way she lit up a room, and I couldn't believe she had chosen me. I wasn't rich. I wasn't particularly handsome, but I was stable. I had a job that paid well enough. I was loyal. I listened. Maybe that's what she wanted at first. Someone dependable after years of unreliable boyfriends. Whatever the reason, I was a lucky one she said yes to. The wedding was perfect. Everyone kept telling us how in love we looked, how we were the couple that was going to last. I believed them. I remember standing at the altar, looking at her and thinking, this is it. This is my forever. We danced, we laughed, we promised each other everything. And for a while it was good, better than good. It was the happiest I had ever been. The first year of marriage was filled with small adventures, late-night conversations, and plans for the future. Then, when Emma got pregnant with our daughter, everything seemed to click into place. I had always wanted to be a father, and watching her belly grow, hearing the heartbeat at appointments, holding her hand as we decorated the nursery, it felt like a dream. When Lily was born, I cried harder than I ever thought possible. That tiny human, with her clenched fists and soft cries, was my everything from the very first moment. But somewhere along the way, Emma and I stopped being us. Sleepless nights, financial stress, the weight of parenthood. It chipped away at the bond we had built. We argued more. She said I wasn't attentive enough, that I was too focused on work, that I didn't see her anymore. And maybe she was right. I was exhausted, juggling a demanding job and new fatherhood. But I thought I was doing for her, for us, for Lily. Every late hour at the office was to keep us afloat. Every sacrifice I made was for family. But Emma didn't see it that way. At first, the fights were small. Who should wake up with a baby? Why I was late for dinner? Whether we should visit her family or mine. Then they grew sharper, cutting deeper. She accused me of not caring, of being absent even when I was home. I accused her of being ungrateful, of not understanding the pressure I was under. Neither of us listened. The first time she mentioned divorce, I laughed. I thought it was an empty threat thrown out in the heat of the moment. But she didn't laugh. She stared at me with this cold, unfamiliar expression and said, maybe we'd both be happier if we weren't together. That night, I barely slept. Clinging to the edge of the bed while she turned her back to me, I begged her to try counseling. I said we owed it to ourselves, to Lily. She agreed, reluctantly. We went to 3 sessions. The counselor said we needed to communicate, to rebuild trust. Emma nodded, but her eyes were already elsewhere. I was the only one still fighting for us. Then I found the messages. It was a Thursday night. Emma had left her phone on the couch, and a notification popped up, a name I didn't recognize. Curiosity got the better of me, and I opened it. What I saw still burns in my memory. Words of affection, plans to meet, confessions of love. My stomach dropped. She was having an affair. When I confronted her, she didn't even deny it. She looked me dead in the eye and said, I haven't been happy for a long time. As if that justified everything. As if my devotion, my sacrifices, meant nothing. She admitted it had been going on for months. That while I was working late to provide for us, she was finding comfort in someone else's arms. I thought the worst pain I'd ever feel was the moment she said those words. I was wrong. The worst pain came later, when lawyers got involved, when custody papers were drawn up, when I realized that not only was I losing my wife, but I was also at risk of losing my daughter. Emma was ruthless. She painted me as an absent father, as someone too consumed with work to be there for Lily. Her lawyer twisted every late night at the office, every missed bedtime story, into evidence that I wasn't fit to be the primary parent. I tried to fight back, but in the courtroom, truth becomes irrelevant. It's all about who tells a better story. And Emma's story made me out to be the villain. The house, the one I had poured years of savings into, was awarded to her for stability. Most of my assets were divided down to the bone. But the real battle was over Lily. I begged the judge to see me as more than a paycheck, as more than the man Emma described. I showed up with photos, with testimonies from friends who saw how much I loved my daughter. But in the end, the court leaned in her favor. She got primary custody. I got every other weekend. Do you know what it's like to go from kissing your daughter goodnight every day to seeing her 4 days a month? To have her cry when she leaves your place because she doesn't understand why she can't stay longer? To feel her slipping away from you, piece by piece, until one day you realize she no longer runs into your arms the way she used to? That's the kind of pain no one prepares you for. Emma remarried less than a year later, to the man she cheated with. He moved into my house, slept in my bed, sat at the head of my table. He tucked my daughter in at night. She started calling him Dad. The first time I heard it, I locked myself in the bathroom and cried until my chest hurt. I tried to hold on, to make the most of the time I had with Lily. We'd go to the park, we'd play games, we'd make pancakes together. But it always ended the same way. Her little arms around my neck, her voice whispering, "I don't want to go back yet." And me, helpless, forcing a smile as I handed her over. The final blow came when Emma filed to relocate. She said her new husband had a job opportunity in another state, and she wanted to move for the benefit of the family. I fought it. God, I fought it with everything I had left. But the court approved it. And just like that, Lily was gone. Now I live in a one-bedroom apartment with walls that feel like they're closing in. The silence is unbearable. I keep her drawings on the fridge, her old stuffed animal on the bed, as if clinging to those things will make up for the empty space where she should be. I video call her once a week. She smiles. She tells me about school, about her friends, about her new life. And I smile back, pretending I'm not dying inside. People tell me to move on, to rebuild, to find happiness again. But how do you move on when your entire world has been ripped from you? When the woman you love betrayed you? When the system stripped you of your role as a father? When the little girl who once clung to you now lives hundreds of miles away calling another man dad? This isn't just a story about divorce. It's a story about destruction, about how love can curdle into bitterness, how vows can be shattered, how a life you built with your bare hands can be dismantled piece by piece until you're left with nothing. And the cruelest part? I'd still do anything for my daughter. I'd still give up everything I have left just to see her happy. But in this story, I am not the hero. I am the man left behind. The man who lost it all. The man who sits in the dark at night replaying every moment, wondering where it all went wrong. Because love doesn't always conquer. Sometimes it destroys. And when it does, it leaves scars that never heal.